Today I'm going to be taking a look at a Linux distribution that very few people have heard of. This Linux distribution is called VSIDO, V-S-I-D-O. It is based on Debian Sid, Debian's unstable branch, and it uses the Fluxbox window manager. It boots up entirely in RAM and uses very little system resources. So let's take a look. So, VSIDO, I don't know that much about it myself. I've had a couple of viewers request this, that I review it on the channel. They do have a website at vsido.org, but it is not much of a website. Basically, it is just a bulletin board, a web forum. And one of the sticky topics on the web forum is what is VSIDO and why should I care? And it tells us basically a little bit about VSIDO. It is a frontline Debian Sid installation built with the goal of providing both basic and advanced users the tool sets needed to be productive, protected, yet flexible enough to enjoy. VSIDO is built on Debian's latest to date kernel. Uses Fluxbox window manager. Awesome. For advanced users, tools like BleachBit, Disk Manager, Kernel Remover, Debian App Protection Tools, Build Essentials, and a selection of Debian Power Tools are standard features. For the beginner, everything for connection, multimedia, music, aliases, system panels, the Tent2 launcher panels, ease of use is standard. So, apparently they're promoting this as being kind of a jack-of-all-trades kind of distro. Has enough tools that the power user would feel comfortable with it, but everything is kind of set up out of the box for a beginner as well. So it mentions boots in less than 125 megs for the 64-bit ISO. I'm going to download the 64-bit ISO, and I'm going to install this in a virtual machine today. I'm going to use VirtualBox. Alright, so I created a virtual machine here for VSIDO. I gave this machine 2 cores of my CPU, and I gave it 4 gigs of RAM, which is more than enough system resources for a distro like this. I'm sure one core of my CPU and 1 gig of RAM probably would have been plenty for this. Again, it's designed to be very light, especially on RAM. They claim that it can boot up in under 125 megs of RAM. So 4 gigs, it's overkill, but it's basically kind of the standard amount of RAM I give all my VMs. I usually give them 4 gigs. Unless they're really heavy, sometimes I bump it up to 6 gigs. Alright, we booted into our live environment here. Of course, this is supposed to be Fluxbox. Yeah, the right-click menu here. This is the Fluxbox menu. The panel at the bottom. It mentioned they were using the Tent2 panel, which is interesting because Fluxbox has its own panel. You don't have to use it. You can use a third-party panel like Tent2. But it's strange that they're not using the Fluxbox panel. They chose to use Tent2. This is, I'm assuming, Tent2 here at the bottom with basically just some transparent background and a few quick launchers. Let's see. See if we can find the installation. Yep, install VSIDO. Let's run through the install. By the way, running it live off the ISO. This is basically the same as running it as a live USB. With the installer open right now, 177 megs. Very, very lightweight. Alright, so let's run through the installer. American English has been chosen for the language. That's correct. English US keyboard layout. That's correct. Time zone. Let's see, this looks like they're using GMT. And let's see, Europe, Indian, other, Pacific. This may take me a second to find the time zone in this very large list. I know I need America. America/Chicago would work because it's in the central time zone. There we go. Alright, now we need to create a username. First, it asks for our full name. I'm just going to call myself DT. For the username, I will also go with DT. We need a new user password, a password for the DT user. I'm going to create a strong and complicated password and confirm it. Alright, the computer's name, such as DT-PC. Yeah, that's a good name. Alright. Root account. Alright. Let's see, you can switch The switch below can be used to enable the root account, basically our sudo user. Administration privileges will only be given to it. Sudo will be disabled. Okay, so sudo is already available to us. If we create a root account, sudo will be disabled. I'll use sudo, so I won't do anything with the root account here. All right, there are some errors above. C. Okay, well, what are the errors? Well, it doesn't like my very weak password. And is it not going to let me get past that? There's no kind of pop-up or anything asking me, do I want to go forward? It says hover to see, but yeah, your password should be composed of at least 4 characters. Okay, so it's not going to let me choose my strong and complicated password, so I have to give it 4 characters. So we'll go with 4 characters. All right, still some errors. The user passwords do not match. See, this is what happens when you have to change passwords. You can't type the new password. All right, you can continue. So I've got green now. I don't like that about the installer. You should be able to choose any password you want, no matter how strong or how weak it is. All right. This next screen, it's just a blank screen. It says manage your drives. Do I actually need to click down here? No, clicking on it does nothing. I'm assuming I'm waiting for something to load here. But it's taking a long time to load. I'm getting a little worried here. Okay guys, so the installer just froze on that screen forever. I couldn't get the installer to work properly. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to treat this kind of like a live USB. I'm just going to run directly off the ISO and just look at the live environment. Really, that's what most people would do with a distro like VSIDO anyway. It's designed really to be run on a live USB key. And the memory usage here in the top panel, not exactly sure what they're using to get this information, what program this is, but memory only using 138 megs of memory right now. So again, very, very minimal, very low on resource usage. Let's go through the Fluxbox menu here and see what programs are installed by default. I'm going to go down here to the accessories category. We do have an application finder. I'm not sure what application finder they're using. Let's see if there's any kind of about page for this particular program. I don't see one. But anyway, it's your standard app finder. Also under accessories, we have BleachBit. BleachBit is a system cleaner. This would be useful for deleting your cache and log files and whatnot. Close that out. Also under accessories, we have Medit. I've never heard of Medit. I'm assuming it's a plain text editor. It is. Medit is a text editor. Medit 1.2.0. Looks like it's using some solarized colors, maybe with the blue background. And we're going to see a lot of programs you wouldn't normally see on this distro because, again, it's trying to be as lightweight as possible. So really, really minimal programs on this distro. FSLint, I'm not sure what FSLint is. With a name like FSLint, I'm sure it would have something to do with your file system, maybe. And no kind of about information to tell me really what this program is about. It looks like it's okay. Duplicates, installed packages, bad names, name clashes, temp files, bad symlinks. So it does have something to do with our file system. Alright, SpaceFM is our file manager. SpaceFM is a really nice, light, but very powerful GUI file manager. SpaceFM 1.0.6. I've actually used SpaceM a little bit in the past. Antix, the distro Antix, uses SpaceFM. We also have the SpaceFM file search utility. We have system information. We have our task manager, our GUI task manager. Let's see what's going on here. So CPU, I gave this machine 2 cores of my 6-core CPU. It is using, I don't know, 5%, 4%, 2%, single-digit percentages of the CPU. 90 processes are running. Memory, it's using about 5% memory now, which is about 166 megs according to the bar here at the top. Alright, we have our terminal. Not sure what terminal emulator they're using here. This is the Xfce Terminal. Okay. I thought they would have used something maybe a little lighter, something like, I don't know, Xterm, or I don't know if Xterm is installed on the system or not. Xarchiver is here for, zip, unzip. HTOP is also installed for another, system monitor. And running HTOP here, we're now at 192 megs of memory being used, because now HTOP does take a little bit of memory, and of course the Xfce terminal takes a little memory, which is HTOP is running in the terminal. As soon as I close that, we're back down to 172 megs of memory. Under development, we have Xcalc. Then we have our Fluxbox category here, where we can edit our Fluxbox menu, reload a Fluxbox config if we edited our Fluxbox config file, restart Fluxbox, and of course exit out of Fluxbox. We have our graphics category, we have Mirage, and we have our screenshot utility. Under Internet, we have Cine settings, Network Manager settings, and we have Firefox. Now that is interesting for such a minimal Linux distro to have something as heavy as Firefox on the system. And it's going to take a little bit of time for Firefox to load, because look at the RAM. We're already 543 megs, 565 megs of RAM. Just by opening up something like Firefox. It would have been the same had they installed something like Chrome or Chromium. These are really heavy programs for a distro like this. I'm going to try to see if I can figure out what version of Firefox this is. This is definitely not the latest one. Yeah, this is Firefox ESR 52.7.3. ESR stands for, I think, Extended Support Release. So it's kind of like an LTS of Firefox. Version 52. Firefox right now is on version 60. So definitely a little old. Under multimedia, we have Gmusic Browser. Now, I have used Gmusic Browser in the past. It is a really nice music player. Kind of lightweight. Now, it took a minute to load, though. Anyway. It is a nice audio player, Gmusic Browser 1.1.15.2. You don't see Gmusic Browser installed by default on too many systems. That's interesting that I closed the window and we still have like some stuff over here. I'm not sure what's going on with this. Playlist empty. Why is this stuff stuck on the desktop? It's hard to tell what's going on here because I don't have a wallpaper set. Or it is a wallpaper, but maybe it's a black wallpaper with this VSIDO logo on it, but the panels are also black. Can I actually set a wallpaper? Let's see. So I'm going to skip ahead. I'm going to go to the settings menu. Nitrogen is installed here, and there's no wallpapers though. You know what? I'm going to pause the video for a second. I'm going to download some wallpapers so that we can get a proper desktop here. Give me just a second. So I'm going to go to the Fluxbox right-click menu. I'm going to go to System. I'm going to open up a root terminal. And I need to do a root terminal because I'm going to try to install something. So first, let's apt update to update the repos. And this might take a second. Of course, it's connecting to the Debian Sid repos. It's Debian's unstable branch, their rolling release. Looks like it's going to take another 30 seconds or so to sync the repos here. And actually, just syncing the repos, look how much memory is being used. 368 megs of memory. And that's pretty normal. Anytime you open up your package manager and do an update or upgrade, if you have a system monitor open, you will see a noticeable spike in memory usage. So it's not unusual. Alright, so sync the repos. Now, how about an apt install? And in Debian, I know there are some wallpaper packs like, is it GNOME backgrounds? GNOME-backgrounds? Yep, that's one. I could have done Mate-backgrounds as well. There's some other background wallpaper packs in the Debian repos, but any of them will do. I just want some wallpaper so that I can actually get rid of this black background, because it is annoying having a black background and black panels. Okay, so that finished installing. Now I'm going to go back to System, actually to Settings. Yeah, Nitrogen as our wallpaper selection utility. I'm going to go to Preferences, and we need to add a folder for wallpapers. Now that GNOME backgrounds I installed, you will find that wallpaper pack in User, Share, Backgrounds, GNOME. Select, hit OK, and here are the standard GNOME wallpapers that you find on a lot of GNOME distros. Let's see. Let me scale that. Alright, at least we have a normal background now, but I'm still not sure what this is. Okay, we do have this here. Can I exit out of? Okay. Okay, I was able to kill Gmusic browser. I also have something else on the notification tray here. What is this? The task manager. I guess when you close it, it minimizes itself. I want it to actually quit. Okay, so we killed all that. What else do we have open? I'm going to make sure I get everything closed that needs to be closed here. Still running 362 megs of RAM, so there's still some stuff running that doesn't need to be. Oh well, I'll figure it out in a minute. Let me get through the menu here. Let's see. We were on Multimedia, Gmusic browser. Pithos is a Pandora client. It's actually a really nice Pandora client. We have Pulse Audio Volume Control and PMYTD. I'm not sure what that is. Looks like it's a terminal-based application. And let me type 1 to get about information. Alright, PMYTD is just a helper script for Ricardo Garcia's wonderful YouTube.dl. So it uses YouTube.dl, which is a YouTube client, a terminal-based YouTube client. Alright, under settings we have accessibility, we have LX appearance. LX appearance is the standard LXDE settings utility to set the GTK theme, icon theme, etc. There are really no themes to set. We only have one theme, Vertex Dark, well, Raleigh as well, so we have two themes. Icon set, we just have one icon set. It is called Linux Lex-8. Of course, we also have Adwaita, which is the default GNOME icon set. So, again, it's a very, very minimal distro. Not a whole lot on the ISO. It's a very small image. It's only like 500 megs, so you're not going to have like a lot of GTK themes, icon themes, wallpaper packs, you know. That's why out of the box, it's pretty much like a black screen. You know, the panels even, you know, they're transparent panels. Not much going on here. Under System, we have the usual suspects here. LeechBit again. We have our boot up manager, disk manager, gparted for our partition manager, our partition editor. A lot of people would use a distro like VSIDO for a system rescue CD, and having utilities like gparted on the ISO are important. I thought I launched gparted, but it didn't launch. Let me click it again, make sure. Yeah, there's something wrong with the link there for gparted. It's either broken here on the Fluxbox menu, or gparted may not even be installed. It's supposed to be, though. It's in the menu. Alright, then we have our root terminal and our root file manager. Alright. Okay, so I'm still showing 358 megs of memory being used. Let me open up HTOP. See if I can figure out what is taking so much memory. If I sort by memory here, I really can't tell what is sucking up that memory. I mean, Xorg is using the most memory. And then, of course, the Xfce Terminal with HTOP running, which is HTOP. Yeah, that's taking up the most memory as well. The Xfce App Finder is also taking up quite a bit of memory. And Conky, and Tent2, and the Fluxbox Window Manager. Yeah, so I'm not really sure. We're over 400 megs now. Let me close HTOP, and it'll drop back down to, yeah, 359 again. Anyway, that's VSIDO. This very, very quick failed installation and first look. So, what are my thoughts on VSIDO. Well, as I just mentioned, the failed installation. It's a complete fail. The installer doesn't work. At least it didn't in this virtual machine. I didn't try it on physical hardware, but I suspect it would have caused me some problems on physical hardware as well, because the installer just hangs at one point. One of the screens, once you set up your username and password, go through the keyboard layout, time zone, then of course you get to the part of the installer where you're supposed to set up your partitions, and nothing ever loads in that part of the installer. It's just an empty frame, and it just hangs forever. You can wait all day, nothing's ever going to happen. So the installer, it's a complete fail. What do I think of VSIDO as a live desktop environment or a live USB stick? I'd give it a B. For what it's trying to accomplish, being very low on system resources. I mean, it booted about 130 megs of memory. That's pretty dang good. But you know what? SLITAS, the distro I reviewed just yesterday, I had that thing running on 69 megs of memory at one point yesterday during that live stream. So SLITAS is definitely a better distro. It's also got a better website. VSIDO doesn't even have a proper website. It is just a web form, a bulletin board. Hardly any users, hardly any activity on that site, hardly any community behind it, hardly any information about VSIDO. So it's one of these obscure distros that nobody even knows about. Probably not going to find it on DistroWatch. I actually didn't even look for it on DistroWatch. Had I not been suggested by a couple of viewers to take a look at VSIDO, I had never heard of it. So overall, though, I'd give the live environment, the live USB stick, if I was grading it, A to F, I'd give it a B. Before I go, I do want to give a special thanks to my patrons. A special shout out to my Patreon supporters, AK, Ron, Mr. Neely Pops, John, Brian, Carl, Greg, Carlos, Rob, Matt, Darkwin, Mark, Christian, Jake, Benjamin, Stephen B, Stephen Z, Marcus, Interceptor, Bob, Leor, Omar, Silvio, David, Alex, Bruno, Mike, Daniel, Nick, Eduardo, David, Tony, Michael, Tiedemann, Tabella, Dan, and Keith. You guys rock. You guys help make this show possible. Peace, guys.